Truthfully Speaking Grace is a global podcast dedicated to connecting, celebrating, and inspiring listeners with empowering conversations. Join host Agatha Corbin as she gracefully builds with real people, sharing real stories, and unlocking real enlightening truth. Welcome. This is Truthfully Speaking Grace podcast with your amazing host, Agatha Corbin, giving you real conversation with powerful topics and connecting with real inspirational people from all over the world. So sit back, relax, and let's get this podcast started. Welcome to Truthfully Speaking Grace podcast, the fall edition 2021. I have a wonderful series this fall. This series for October is on love, marriage, men, women, husband, wife, all of that. And today's session is brought to you by our guest speaker, Arrettres Hollins. Say hey.
Hey.
She is a dynamic speaker and woman of faith, wife, counselor. She wears many hats, but the hat that I got excited about when I started stalking her on Instagram was how to heal in certain things in a marriage and a relationship, particularly a marriage with infidelity. So she uses her gifts to transport and empower women to grow and spiritually and practice self-care. Okay, ladies, self-care. And build her marriage. And even though everyone knows this is under my Black Love Matter series that I started early this year, I'm big on highlighting and promoting the sanctity of marriage, particularly in the Afro-American community. They still do exist. Hey, I mean, I'm not there yet, but Arrettres Hollins is there. She earned her bachelor's degree in psychology. She certified mental health coach. Okay. Arrettres, we're going to really delve into that because the other day was National Mental Health Day. Mm-hmm. I think with COVID, we're going to delve in about healing oneself because I'm pretty sure a lot of couples, I did a show earlier, talked about living together in COVID.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know if the divorce rate went up or not.
It actually did. It actually did.
She serves as a powerful mentor and prayer warrior to the women within her local church and community, and also in her social media and email, because I'm one of them. And she's helping women experience some type of breakthrough in their lives so they can move to the next level in their marriage and heal. Amen. So we're going to talk about healing. So we're going to delve right into this. Welcome, Mrs. Hollins.
Thank you, sweetheart. I feel honored to be on your show, boo. Thank you.
Yeah. Truthfully Speaking Grace in the house.
Yay.
We took a little hiatus, but we back. So we're going to delve into some questions that I have. Let's first talk about in preparation for becoming a wife.
Yeah.
Do you believe women must seek some type of spiritual, emotional, and mental healing? Let's start with that first.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
We all carry baggage. Like, I don't care how perfect your childhood was. Mm-hmm. There's some kind of baggage that you have that you need to shed, because if you don't, it is going to affect your marriage. Because marriage comes with its own issues as it is, its own struggles. So when you add your baggage and his baggage to that, there's some unnecessary friction there that can start. So we want to make sure that you have healed from most of the things that could negatively affect your marriage, especially if you've had past relationships and you know, maybe your ex didn't do what he was supposed to be doing and didn't
Come
love
on
you
now.
the way he
And
was
you
supposed to.
and we carry that.
We will carry it into the marriage and look at our husband like he was the one that offended you. Or what we'll do is we'll have these walls up that will keep us from, one, giving love the way we really want to, and two, well, it'll keep us from receiving love the way that we really desire.
Okay, so let's stay right there. Let's talk about one thing I love about this show and my guests like you, who are men and women of God, of faith, is let's talk about carrying what we carry over. As the preachers say, the remnants. You gotta have a sense of humor with me. Okay, so the remnants. Let's talk. This really, I want to bookmark there. Let's kind of delve into that about the remnants of our past relationship. Because sometimes it's not just about having a past boo or ex, but it can also be past failed relationship within family. Do you think also a lot of, and the reason why I mentioned this, I'm going to put that out there. We have a lot of young women, because even in my life in business and nonprofit and community, I mentor and minister to a lot of young ladies. And I have two powerful young men. They're like, okay, mom, what's up? What's up with the young ladies? So let's talk about broken relationships within the family and how that affects the marriage.
Because we don't seem to realize there's mommy issues and daddy issues.
Come on now.
We have from brokenness. Now, hopefully mom and dad did the best they could with what they had. They might have come from brokenness. I had an interesting dynamic with my dad. He was there my entire life, but it was a rocky situation. Lots of ups, lots of downs. As I got older, I realized that the relationship was toxic because of his temper and who it molded me to be. I noticed that I became what I'm not going to do is let a man run me. What I'm not going to do is submit because of the strong way my daddy tried to rule over. So and then my mom, she died when I was 12, actually, which is part of my baggage that I didn't know I had. My mom died when I was 12. All my life until I was in my late 30s, in my head and in my heart, she died when I was 14, actually. Yes. But it wasn't until I went through some counseling and stuff, come to find out my mom really died when I was 12. So there was some baggage and some brokenness that happened for those 2 years that I blacked out completely. And then took that into my adulthood. And it wasn't until I went through counseling. And I mean, seriously, I'm on the phone. How it came, I was on the phone with my baby sister and reflecting on childhood and one, discovering I had mommy issues because of her passing. Yeah. And so basically, even if you're raised in a good, you have mom and dad there, they're both married.
Yes.
It's based on the dynamics of the relationship that will affect you when you get married.
Okay. Repeat that again. Let's rewind that, because that is huge, because I came from a two-parent home. I was spoiled because I came from a Abraham and Sarah situation. My parents were late in life, and then here I come.
Okay.
And I was the apple of my daddy's eye, And I didn't know how that also can affect you too, because your expectations of other men, they're not gonna ever reach that pinnacle of daddy.
Honey.
Who was strong and courageous and worked hard and handled his business and treated me like a princess. You know what I mean? So, but it's still those issues. And then my mother taught me how to be a lady. But at the same time, I was out there running around and climbing trees and racing with the dudes, because I had brothers. So they had to take that softness and say, we're gonna have to toughen her up, person that, can be soft and submissive on one end, but okay, that Angelina gonna come out of her and check you real.
Look, don't play.
As my friend said, don't let the smooth taste fool you.
Don't let it. Your feelings will be hurt.
So, but what I love that you said, Mrs. Hollins, is you went to counseling.
Yes.
You got help.
Yes. You have to get, and I fought it because I'm thinking, I'm this successful woman. I'm married. I have children. People are looking up to me within my community. But Arrettres, you got some baggage, some inner stuff, some inner demons that you are wrestling with. So I had to get to a point where I was ready to face my issues and be honest about where I was. I was not as perfect as I was looking on the outside. And I had to allow myself to be vulnerable and let someone see the real me.
Okay, yes. Did she say the B word?
I said the B word.
You say the B word especially to us American Black women.
Honey, we need it the most because we endure the most. So yes. We really need to find those safe places where we can snatch the wig off, wipe the makeup, and really put our heart out there, because there are people that we can trust with our darkness. I truly believe that God wants us to live this life in community. He yes. wants us to have support systems so that we can go to them with our truth and see the love of God through them. Yes. Healing can only begin when you face and admit there's a problem. And until you're able to face the problem and admit you have a problem, that problem will continue to sit there and torment you.
Then therefore torment your spouse.
Yes, it will. And I've been on both sides of the road. And this is the thing, we can't just look at ourselves and blame them for the issues, because you also have your own issues.
You got your own.
There was only one person that walked the earth that was perfect, and that was Jesus.
Yeah, come on now. And so, we all need him.
All of us. Okay.
Even us super Black women.
Honey, it's the ambitious, it's the strong-willed, it's the I can do it all by myself wives that struggle the most.
Come on now.
Because first of all, let's not bring up the S word, that curse word of submission. You say that to a Black woman, she might go on the purse on you. She might pop the trunk. Say that to a Black woman, hold up now. Why are we cussing? You said the S word. I didn't know if we were gonna fight today, But that happens because we have experienced so much torment. We so many people have dropped the ball in our lives, and we have suffered pain from that. That submission seems like a curse word. So many people have manipulated that, even within the church.
In the church, I think, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and I might get calls and texts and whatever else, but because, again, I've dealt with the community and the churches on the other side, on the outside, I believe sometimes the churches can be the most, not all of them, can be the most harmful. Because their thing is, long as he ain't beating you, I'm like, what?
Like, wait a minute. Like, there's some things that he's committing here. And that's part of the problem where, unfortunately, some men are not being held accountable for sin that they're committing.
Yes. And
sometimes that's because it depends on who you go to, because they're dealing with that same issue of sin. So how can I call my brother out on his sin when I'm stepping out on my wife?
Yeah.
And doing all the things,
Yeah. The bro code.
Unfortunately, it's 2020. Honey, look, it's 2021. Women ain't putting up all that mess no more. Like
They're not. They're not. But I'm going to flip it though. Let's talk about the women. What's your opinion on today's female perspective? Like God's standard versus the world standard on dating and courtship and marriage. I don't even think a lot of women even talk about, how can we even get the submission? But one, you got to submit to the Lord. If you could submit to Abba, the daddy, then you can submit to your husband.
And that's
what ladies' husband, not boo-boo's food down the street, boyfriend, not side piece, not that mess.
Husband. And that's part of the problem. You got these women who are submitting to someone that has not committed himself as the head of the household and put a ring on your finger. That's problem number one.
Okay, we having church.
Okay, we're so busy trying to win him over. We're so busy trying to prove to him that we're worthy. Let's be clear in the Bible. In biblical times, the man saw a wife, saw a woman.
Yes.
And come on. He went above and beyond to prove to the daddy, the uncle, the cousins, to prove to all of them that he could be the husband. Worthy.
Yes.
That's biblical times.
Okay, we're done with the podcast. That's right there.
It's not session. It's not about me and I'm guilty of this too, because ambitious and I'm strong and we do all the things. But and I look back at how I was in my relationship, before I got married, and some of the stuff I did, it's like, Arrettres, I didn't allow him to prove himself as much as I should have, because I was also proving myself. Sometimes we have to sit back and be a lady.
Yeah.
And let him woo you. And if he's not wise enough to see
your worth,
let him walk on.
He's not worthy.
He's not worthy.
It is the man that findeth a wife that findeth a good thing. And if I'm a good thing, so I'm worth finding, not chasing, not manipulating.
I'm worth you pursuing, because I am all that. The Bible says that he finds favor with God when he finds me.
Come on.
If he don't want this favor,
God will send someone who will.
Exactly.
Oh, this is good. So in that, what are you seeing? I mean, of course, we don't want any names, but what are you seeing? What kind of perspectives? I mean, what are you seeing for women when it comes to preparing for a relationship?
Unfortunately, I don't see many women getting prepared for a relationship. They're prepared for the wedding. They're prepared for the ring, but they're not prepared for the ministry of marriage.
A wife, because it is a ministry.
It is a ministry. They're not prepared for the battle of, now the enemy despises you and your husband. Now, the enemy's going to do everything he can to destroy that marriage, because marriage is God's representation of his love for us. So outsiders, and the world is supposed to look at us, is supposed to look at marriage and say, wow, like, how do y'all do this? And we're supposed to be able to say, it's God. You see, when he said, he tells the husband to love your wife the way Christ loved the church. Christ sacrificed his life with an undying love, with an unmerited love. Like we didn't have to earn it. It wasn't because we looked cute. It wasn't because we were voluptuous. It wasn't even because we were surrendered to him. Christ died simply because he loved us. And that's the same sacrificial love that God wants husbands to love their wife with. So the enemy is going to come at you. And if you are not praying, if you are not fasting, if you are not surrendered to God, if you are not in your word,
come on now,
putting on the full armor, of God every single, matter of fact, don't even take it off. Leave it on you. Okay.
Even when you're courting. I told this young lady, she stopped stopped me and my BFF in the store. We were shopping, and I guess she saw it on, and she was like, I haven't been on a date for several years, and should I wear this or should I wear that? I said, is it going to go to courting? And she just looked at me like, courting? I said, courting.
Yes.
He has to earn the next, and you get to know. And this young lady just looked at me and my BFF and like, wow, no one has ever said that. Yeah, they have to earn the next.
Honey, let's just put this out here. Whatever happened to keeping your legs closed up until he has put that ring on it and you've walked down the aisle? Because the ring on it ain't enough. You need to walk down the aisle and get married also.
And do the covenant.
Come on. Stand before God.
I don't know. And that's part of that preparation. And so you're saying in today's society, you're saying that they're ready for the ring and all the glamour and the glitz and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But once the wedding and the reception and the honeymoon is over,
that's when the battle begins.
All right.
Marriage is a beautiful thing. Marriage is wonderful, but you have signed up for war against the enemy.
Wow.
When you are doing marriage the right way, the enemy hates you. He hates us no matter what, because we're children of God. And he wants to get as many souls to be with him as possible. So now you have this thing that's supposed to be representing the love of God. Oh, he's like, no, I need to mess with it. I need to mess around with this. So you have to be ready and prayerful and in tune with God, because you can get to a place in God where you'll know the weapon's coming before it even gets to you. And you don't know how to pray. Exactly. You have this relationship with God, and you're talking to him, he's talking to you, and he's giving you guidance and like, okay, well, Arrettres, something's coming. Start fasting and praying now. And then when it comes, you're ready and you don't respond in your flesh.
Come on now. Or Jezebel spirit.
Look now. Okay. And I'm a chocolate girl from the Bronx. So I'm ready to fight in the natural, and I have to catch myself like, Arrettres, come on now. You're a child of the King. You can't say all the words that ain't in the Bible. You can't
get your point across.
You see, you can't be cussing folk out, Arrettres. Okay, let's get back into the spirit realm. I
just love it already, Arrettres. Oh my God. So we recapping, even in the date and the courtship and the marriage preparation, it starts with prayer.
Yes.
Getting in the word, washing in the word, developing a relationship with Christ, with God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, because is what you're saying. And then taking that and preparing for war. Yeah. And like that movie War Room. I just love that movie. And just preparing for war. But it can be fun if I would say fun, but it can be wonderful with a mate that understands.
Yes. That's what makes a difference. You need to
makes a difference.
Equally yoked. Come on now. You need to be with someone that understands and is ready to build a foundation with you. The thing about War Room, especially, I'm glad you brought up that movie. You stop seeing your husband as the enemy and you see the real enemy, which is the devil. We're in marriage, and I'm guilty of this too. You looking at your husband, he says something to your little left, and it's like, you know what? I got a whole life from the Bronx. Look, boogie down for life. Okay. But you have to remind yourself, okay, my husband is not my enemy. It's the devil who is trying to torment and destroy my marriage. If you are not rooted in God and have a relationship with God, that'll go over your head and you'll be fighting your husband every single day.
Until you get in front of an attorney for a divorce. Because the divorce rate is extremely high across the board. and unfortunately even higher in the church community.
It is.
So let's talk about boundaries. Is it harder or easier to have a committed relationship in this era? Because this is us sliding into the next subject. But I mean, we got social media, we got music videos, music itself, we have shows, TV shows, we have supermodels, we have the washboard abs, we have all that eye candy.
Yes.
Okay? You know, we ain't dead.
We still have all the emotions.
Yeah. Sister ain't dead at all.
Look.
So, but in that seriousness, I think the accessibility of having all of that, do you think it's harder for a woman to prepare herself? Because it ain't just the men now, it's women that's falling.
It's and this is a thing, especially in the church, women are not allowed to express the fact that they have sexual desires, that they want to have sex. Like, why are we only looking at the men and say, well, the men just want. No, we like sex too. Okay. So part of it is teaching women and allowing women to say, I want Tyrone to come over at 2 a.m. I want, but I need my sister to help me not call Tyrone at 2 a.m. You know, because what you do when you're able to speak your truth, then you're able to now overcome the issue. But sitting in, because what the enemy wants is he wants you to sit in secrecy, shame, isolation by yourself. Yeah. That's what he wants you. So now you dealing with all this by yourself. Oh, but I'm going to pray about it. Well, God also wants you in community. So we need an opportunity to be able to go to our sister and say, look, Tyrone popped up in my DMs, and I know he's about 20 minutes from me. I don't want to call him, but I want to call him. Okay. Yeah. And the access, like back in the days, you used to have to search.
I mean, search.
Honey, I was just scrolling on Instagram Reels, and all of a sudden a Tyrone popped up, and I was like, wait a oh, Jesus, you know?
It's easy access, and they roll up on you. But even for women, and particularly also our young ladies, it's like all that ain't always real. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And and you write a community to talk about that, especially for us single, you know. I'm single. Well, woman in wait for marriage, you know. It's tough, but it can be done.
It definitely can be. It can be.
Know, and I like what you just said, creating a safe place or community of women of God that, or your friends or family, or even like you said, a counselor or stranger to keep you accountable, not to do that. Okay, so what's your telephone number again? Okay, we might after this podcast,
honey,
conversation.
I'm here for
COVID. I'm telling you, what made God allow me to do these shows on Black Love Matters, because COVID shut all of that down or changed the dynamics.
Exactly.
Particularly for people who are single, who want to be courted and want that, you know, we're not, you know, we want human contact and conversation and prayer and all that. Well, COVID, it was like crickets. Wow. Okay.
It's just me and you, God. Okay.
Hey. Okay. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I praise God for it, because in all seriousness, I found out in this journey, when I had to bring the podcast in and not be traveling all around the country and the world, and had to bring it in, is that it was other adults and young people. Because that, like I said, they coming at me like, okay, we need a podcast. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yes.
It's surprisingly, let me say this, there are a lot of young people and young adults who are still chaste or virgins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of single moms and single dads who have decided to rebirth their virginity and abstain and wait. They exist.
Yes.
But it's almost unsexy
but
to say that.
It's unsexy to someone that ain't for you. That's who it's unsexy.
Ooh, say that again, Miss Archer.
It's unsexy to someone that is not for you. If they are turned off by the concept of you being celibate, that is your red flag that says, hey, he's not for you. Hey, that's God saying, hey, that's not your Boaz. That's not your boob. That's not your hub. It's not your job to convince him that celibacy is a thing to do.
Well, okay, abstaining. Let me say abstain,
Yeah.
because I heard celibacy means like never, ever.
Yeah.
So no, ain't that never, you know.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, you gotta have a sense of humor. Another young lady told me that. She was like, okay, Mr. Gator, we're gonna call it celibacy. It's abstinence. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Abstinence. We not
celibacies mean like you just never ever.
Oh.
Which there are people like that.
There are, because I'm actually mentoring a young lady like that, and she's dating now, and we talked about all of that, and we put some boundaries up to make sure she can stay that way. You know, you don't need to be at his house 12 o'clock at night.
Come on now.
You know, there's certain things you don't have to have them long 5, 10, 15-minute kisses. No, let's. You have to set up those boundaries, and you have to know yourself. You have to know what your limits are, and then say, okay, this is a boundary for me. And if he cannot respect my boundaries, he is not the one. Men will always tell you whether they're the one or not. They will. Don't listen to what's coming out of his mouth necessarily when he's saying I'm the one. His actions, if they're aligned with your boundaries, if it's aligned with your belief system, then he's the one. But when he has conflicts or is going against your boundaries, he is telling you, I am not the one. Which is sometimes hard for us, And don't get me wrong, if you in the heat of the moment and stuff's getting a little, too much,
a little turned up,
getting a little too hot in here, and you realize you might want to take all your clothes off. When you say, you know what, no, we can't go any further. If he respects that, okay. But he's like, nah, baby, you done got me this far. We don't need to go. Oh, wait, red flag. Now, of course, we should not be getting to the point where we're that close now.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to be a tease. Okay, that's all. I don't know if
that's a whole other conversation. That's not preparation, ladies.
I'm just saying. Okay.
And enticing them. No, really, we need to talk about that's part of that boundaries. And it's not just young. I'm talking about mature women, all of them. You can't have all your tatas out and up to here and the step. Well, you know what I mean. The stilettos. You married. Okay. But I'm just saying, when you go on, we don't ever want to talk about that. Let's talk about it. Is you don't have to be approved, because I'm definitely not approved. People when they get to know me, it's like, oh my God, you crazy. Like, yeah, I look like a nerd, but just a little. But it's still about that that boundaries. I mean, my mom taught me that. It sounded like your mother taught you that, or some women, I praise God that I was blessed with a mom and an auntie, you know what I mean? Those women that said, okay, baby, I mean, nah, we ain't, and when you're a teenager or you're a kid, as a girl, you thought, oh my God, you're so strict because everybody else is school or everybody else is doing this and everybody. And when I got older and out of college, when I lost my mind, and you get older and you look back like, oh my God, thank you, Mom.
Yes. And in reality, while they were being strict and everybody else was doing all the things, they were also, well, I don't know about you, for me, they were also getting pregnant. They were also having abortions. They were also having STDs. They were also on antibiotics. They were also, tempting, dealing with drugs. They were also dealing. So there was so much that, my friends get to do all the things, but it's like, there's a lot of stuff that they were also doing that was dark.
And our parents or those women, or they call the big mamas in our lives, knew and would, pull you to the side, be like, okay, no, And then as you get older, you start to see things and you're like, oh my God, he covered me. So ladies, covering. And I mean, spiritually, physically, emotionally, are covering.
Yes.
And preparation in this era, it is still cool to be, I won't say good girl, but a balanced girl.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You can still be beautiful. And men, and I have been fortunate to work with a lot of men. Woo, Lord have mercy, in my business life. And, and I have sons, and they really do the woman that wants to be or is covered, and she projects herself as that, because you can still be confident and beautiful and, as they say, sexy.
Yes.
Covered.
Yes.
Woo. Let's talk about then, well, let's talk about your truth. I don't know, because this show is about truthfully speaking grace, speaking your truth. So you don't have to get too personal, but would you like to share a little bit? You have a little bit about your truth as a female that learned how to handle commitment or ready for marriage.
It was a challenge for me because most of my life, all I've seen was infidelity. I've seen men cheat. Like, I can't really think of too many people or men, adults, that were faithful to their wives, like within the church, within family, within friends. Just seeing, it's like, so y'all all out here just cheating? So, I had issues with men and their level of commitment. So what I said was, I'm gonna get you before you get me. Okay. If y'all gonna be running these streets, well, then I can run these streets too.
I'm gonna get you before you get me.
There you go. And I was good at it, but anywho. But what ended up happening was, when you do that, you expose your spirit to situations that you will have to unravel later on. At some point, you're going to have to unravel all the baggage that's accumulated from that. It made me very untrusting. It made me never want to submit to a man. I never wanted to be vulnerable with a man, because all I saw was toxic behavior, and that men were not capable of loving women properly. So after going through all that, getting right with God and letting him help me process what I had experienced, then it's like, okay, I can allow my husband to love me. I can be vulnerable with him and know this is a safe place. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. I am not perfect either. It's a blessing that man puts up with me sometimes. But, but the thing is, the baggage that we experience is once we overcome that, it was important for me to overcome it so that I can help other women that are struggling with the same issues that I experienced. Not being able to trust men, not wanting to be vulnerable, so strong and ambitious that I don't need no man. I can do it.
Oh, that wait a minute. Ain't that a lie from the pit of hell?
Honey, I need my husband. I don't know about the rest of you.
I love me some men, and that's that submissive part. I need. I mean, I just don't carry of desperation, but I never no.
I need my husband, you know. So it wasn't until I was able to go through the process, be honest with the pain and baggage that I was carrying, so that I can now experience life, experience marriage. Because that also went into my other relationships. My girlfriends, I was not vulnerable with other females either. I wasn't fully transparent with other females because I didn't trust them. So the healing process of being honest, going through that counseling, getting a mentor, having a group of women, older women that I can go to with my truth and my honesty, that can help me to see me and then refocus on God and see my husband the way God intended. That's what really has blessed me.
What a story. I mean, that is real. I mean, you never have women that say, I experienced so much cheating and infidelity, it became my DNA.
It was, you know, and you're right. Not many women are honest about that. Because women cheat.
Oh, yes, they do.
Yeah,
matter of fact, they could be the most insidious ones because, you know, they know how to hide.
Don't get me started.
Women, bruh, women, I think they can top you because it can be years or decades.
I don't think I know women are better at cheating than men. I'm just saying. I'm not glorifying it, and I'm not saying
I ain't either. I've been a victim of on the other side of it, so I definitely am not. But I just, you know, again, like you said, I counsel and talk to a lot of sisters, a lot of strong, you know, and they know how to hide it, and you just be like, what? For me, that was exhausting. Just trying to build an empire is, whew, that's just enough. But to juggle men, I just want my one boo, okay? That's just, you know, to submit to. But all of that, you know, that's just creepy, but that's just me. That's just, it's a bit much. But I've seen it. You're right. They could be the biggest the players. All right. Check and don't get it twisted just because she quiet or Millie Mouse. Sometimes, come on. I mean,
look now.
Look now.
I'm just saying.
Oh, this is so fun. So what do you think about females handling I would call it rededicating ourselves into getting ready for marriage, whether we are divorcees or the single mom for many, many years, you know, or, you know, just the mature woman. How do we get ourselves ready, you know, for marriage?
I believe, first of all, you have to have a mentor or someone that you go to that has been married, is married, and is in a good marriage. Just because they married 30 years does not mean they have good marriage. And there's some ways to tell, you know. There's one thing because I have 2 to 3 women that I go to when I'm struggling, and they're honest. They're transparent, but they will always point me back to God. They let me vent. They'll tell me their truth, but they always point me back to God. So you need to find a woman who is married to a good man, not somebody out there who's still in them streets, you know. It had a man who carries himself in a respectful way. Because if she married to Bob and he's still in them streets, she can't tell you how to. No, she can't tell you how to pick a good one. She can't. Sorry.
You need to be praying for her.
Add her to your prayer list.
I mean, you know.
I'm just saying. So find someone who can help you navigate through that. You know, someone that you can say, hey, I'm dating this guy. Can we come over for dinner? I want you to check him out. I want you to dissect him. You know, we need spiritual mothers and fathers. You need, and that couple, her husband should be willing to help you navigate through that too. Check the guy out. Is the guy legitimate? You know, men pick up on stuff that women will never pick up on. You know, man, my husband, when my goddaughter brought a guy home, my husband looked at him and said, you ain't even talk to the man. Like, like can the man say good morning? Like, but men will look at another man and be like, nah, he ain't it. So you should have, so within that couple, they should be able to, you know, look at your husband and check him out, or your future husband or your boo, whatever you want to call them, check them out. But along with that, I think all women should go to counseling. Get a counselor, get a coach, therapy, whatever, a mentor. You know, many churches have programs, and that's what through my church, I went to a program where I was assigned a mentor, and they helped me dig all that stuff up. You know, so address your baggage, as much of it as possible. Are you going to get all the baggage out? No, there's still going to be some stuff. But I guarantee there's at least 2 to 3 big issues you could think of right off the top of your head and say, you know what? I need to get rid of this, this, and this. Let's go to counseling. These things is really going to mess us up later.
Yeah. This is good. So let's talk. Is there a real disconnect when it comes to communication between men and women?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what should women know about the male communication style? What are women missing?
Well, I think part of the problem is they assume all men communicate a certain way. Like, I am very, the dynamics of my relationship, I think more like a man.
Me too.
You see, my husband, he's more, he doesn't think the way I do. So even his communication is different. I'm very verbal. It's A, B, C, D, all the way through Z. I gave you instructions. Go left, turn the corner, pick up 3 leaves off the ground. So I'm very analytical. He's not. So what you have to understand, your husband most likely, guarantee, is going to have a different communication style than you. Right off the bat. He's not going to communicate like you. Because that's just the way God created us.
Yes.
One's going to be an introvert, the other's going to be an extrovert. That's just the way it is. My husband's a social butterfly. I call him my butterfly. My husband will walk into Walmart and make friends with everybody. Like everybody. He talking to everybody. I'm seeing people I know and I'm dodging like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. No. Let me just get behind. Be quiet. Everybody be quiet, Because I'm I'm an introvert by nature. I say I'm an introvert that knows how to perform. But you're going to be different, and learning to accept those differences and be willing to come to a meeting ground. I can't just come to my husband with a problem and think he's going to give me an immediate answer. I need to give him some time to process. We need to schedule a time. Okay, can I come back in 23 minutes or 16 minutes? Is 16 minutes good for you? Okay, I'm gonna come back in 16 minutes now, and I'm gonna need you to help me with this. But that's the way he thinks. By the time it comes out of my mouth, I done came up with a whole solution. I done solved world hunger. Is peace in the Middle East? And I'd be like,
good.
I'd be like, let's go. Once again, I'm a New Yorker. He's from Dallas. But
wow. Yeah. That's a cultural difference.
honey, let's not talk about the cultural difference. That alone almost had us divorced a couple times, okay? But it took maturity for me to see that his Dallas ice, his Dallas cool, balance out my New York fire, So now we just make this kind of warm mixture, where we're going for
balance each other out.
We balance each other out.
And that's it.
And you need to, first of all, stop expecting your husband to be like you. He won't. He will not.
Because that's not what you fell in love with, right?
And you don't want to turn him into someone else. I used to get so upset with my husband because I'm like, come on now, let's get it together. Come on, let's move it along. And it's like, well, Arrettres, one of the reasons why you fell in love with him is because he's so relaxed, because he's so chill, because his for him to be angry is just like, I can maybe count. We've been married 20 something years. Honey, I might be able to count on 1.5 hands the number of times I've seen him get angry. Like, he's really mellow. He really, and sometimes in the beginning of the marriage, because I kept throwing him rocks. And he was like, look, woman, sit down somewhere. But
this is good. But so you're saying not to try to make them into something that they're not. Communication style. They're gonna communicate different. You fell in love with the way he was, so you're going to end up living for the rest of your life with this person the way he is. So I'm finding that middle ground of communication. Mm-hmm. And another one that I think gentlemen have said to me is that this one, because I have male mentor, like older, successful male mentors, and they would say, remember, you control the course for us. For men, we look to you. You control the course, and I was like, "Huh?" Then I was, going through something, so I wasn't really hearing that. So now I'm hearing that. He's like, you control the course. We follow your lead, even in the verbal. In other words, they can't read our mind. You got to just flat out tell us,
honey. Let's talk about that for a minute. Whatever it is you want, open your mouth and say that. Be direct with your husband. He is not going to read your mind. I've been with John 20 years, 20 plus years. He's still like Christmas. I got to say, okay, babe, I'm just going to go ahead and order what I want for Christmas. Anniversary, John, I'm just going to go ahead and order it. I'll wrap it up, put your name on it, and I'll open it and be surprised. But sometimes when I don't want to do that, babe, this is what I want for my birthday. I want A, B, C, D. Can we go here? Can we do this? And he's just like, thank you. Yes. They want you to be direct with them. All this beating around the bush. No, I'm not mad. He should figure it out. You should know what's wrong. He's not psychic.
And then that female, because I talked to a lot of my feet, they're stressed out. Or I'm stressed out because he didn't get it. Like, he didn't get that, and then you just said it. But that's they don't, bless their heart. They just
there's a reason why he gave us the job of being a helpmate. Okay, there's a reason. He said he gonna need some help.
And that's what my mentors were saying. Man, we need that. That kind of that guidance on that. I was like, oh.
And even though they're the head, even though they're the lead, even though, God made them the head, they still look to us for input. I do believe that part of what God puts inside us, we're very in tune with stuff. We'll pick up on little innuendo, we'll pick up on stuff. And we're sometimes more in tune with the spirit because we're so accustomed to communing with God. Sometimes our husbands are so busy doing that they don't get that other stuff. And God wants us to share that information with the husband. The husband's sitting there like, I can't figure this out. Help your husband.
Help. And so you summed it up, because in the beginning we talked about if you have dealt with your issues and your madness, because some of our sisters are just mad.
Honey.
Like, why are you so angry? I mean, but anyway, once you get healed of all of that, then you are willing to help,
Yes.
to be that preparation of that helpmate, because you'll be open to help them.
Yes. Without attacking his manhood.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to help him without attacking his manhood and making him feel like he's not a man anymore.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Do that. There's a reason why, and I love the way God is. He told the man to love the wife, but he told us to respect the husband. He never told us to love our husbands. Nowhere. Like, we're supposed to love them because biblically we're supposed to love our brothers and sisters. Yeah. But I've yet to see anywhere in the Bible where he told the wives to love. He told the wives to respect your husband.
Honor.
Mm-hmm. Honor your husband. Of course, love is aligned in that, but it's important for us to be able to see our husband's vulnerability, see our husband's brokenness, and not use it as a weapon against him.
Ooh, say that again.
Sometimes we will do that. We'll see their brokenness, and then the next time he make us mad, we throw all of that back at him.
And then he's mad. Then he's hurt because now he don't know if he can trust you.
Oh, now no, he knows he can't trust you. He knows he can't trust you. And then you mad later on about why he doesn't come to me, why he doesn't talk to me, why he don't share his heart, because you've already showed him that he can't trust you. So we got to make sure that we're not going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but we have to make sure that we are creating an atmosphere where our relationship is a sacred and safe place.
Safe place.
Mm-hmm.
The safe place. Yeah. So my last question for this session, because we're coming back this week with another one from the male perspective, but from the female perspective or wife perspective, when it comes to infidelity, because every bullet point, bam, bam, that you said, some of those cues or triggers can lead right into infidelity. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you agree? You want to give an example for women? I mean, what were some of the things?
It starts with something that I despise. Are these work wives and work husbands. Ooh. That's when you go to work and you're having this emotional affair. You won't say it's an affair. That's my work husband. That's my work wife.
I don't like that terminology.
I hate everything about it because what you've done is you've opened up the door for the enemy to come in. Mm-hmm. So I say all that to say that it's important that we do not create an atmosphere to make it easy. Am I condoning infidelity? That point blank in a period, there's never, ever a reason why he should go out. Never. Sorry, I don't care how frustrated she makes you, how she don't listen, because you are stepping out on your covenant to God.
Yeah, you breaking that covenant.
You're sinning against God. You're not sinning against her because she don't have a heaven or a hell to put you in. And when you stand in before God, you know, he the one that's making decisions here. You know, hopefully you're saved and you know, you've already accepted Christ. But we don't want to create an atmosphere that makes it easy for the devil to come in.
There you go.
We want to make sure that we are being the wife that we can be proud of, that we're modeling the behavior that our daughters can
come on now.
We want to, because we're teaching them how to be a wife. We're teaching them how to create an atmosphere in their home. You know, so we have to be mindful of these things. And in all things, we want to win our husbands through who we are as a wife. You know, you never stop dating your husband. You never stop courting your husband. You never stop going out on dates. You never stop putting on the sexy lingerie. You never. Now, does that mean you got to put it on every day? And it depends on your husband. Because some husbands be like, look, can you just come to bed naked? I'm ready, you know?
Yeah. The little outfit means nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
Like, they just like, whatever you got on. Like, I saw a meme where they were saying, stop going to Victoria's Secret and go get you a muumuu. Because, you know, Granny, they had about 9, 10, 12 kids.
Come on now.
Okay?
He was bringing his check home and coming home.
Come on now. You know? And all she wore was that muumuu all day, every day. Okay?
Come on now. Hey.
So, you know, part of that, we put these things on ourselves saying, well, this is what I have to do, and this is what I have to do. No, don't allow society to tell you how to build your marriage. Yeah. It's between you and your husband. Whatever makes you two happy.
Say that again. It's that, between you and your husband. And I think in that class question, I guess, is, do you think we as women, we know in the spirit if something is off?
Oh, definitely.
We smell it. We know it. We know that Jezebel at the job or at the school. Okay, let's just go there, in the church, because
you're gonna make me go something at my computer. Because you got one time to smile too much at my husband. He ain't that funny.
Or you standing there, and I've just seen what I've seen. And because I have brothers that's in the ministries, I've had, so I'm always watching and I'm an assessor. I assess, and I see women try to move the wives out the way. When for me, because I was raised by some parents that had some sense, my these things you just don't do. I will always go and say hi to the wife. I will always ask, how are you and the pastor doing? Or, but these days, I mean, a lot of the women are making the pastors more important than their husbands.
That's a whole.
And that used to burn my mother up. My mother, she just talked to me. I thank God I had older parents, because they just schooled me a lot of stuff young. Like, he your pastor, he is not your God, and that is not her husband. Church is church, but don't you think, and we'll get into the next series for men, but a lot of the women put them up on this, they like rock stars.
Oh yeah.
And I just sitting there looking like, he's a pastor.
He's a man just like everybody else.
Yeah, but they treat them like rock stars. So women are cooking, cleaning, sacrificing their time and their days, because pastor told me I needed to be here, here, here. And I'm like, but you got something that you got to go home. I mean, you got a husband, but don't want to do that for your husband or for your man. I mean, I didn't understand that.
Part of that problem is when you don't have a relationship with God yourself, and when you have a relationship with God, he's pouring into you. He's feeding your spirit. He's pricking things inside of you that draws you to him. Now, when I don't have a relationship with God, and this man is standing here and he's pouring into me and he's feeding my spirit, naturally my spirit is activated. But my relationship with God helps me to see this is just a man being used by God.
Yes.
So part of that is there's no relationship with God. And you have now, because we as women naturally want to be poured into. That's just the way God created us. We receive from men.
We receive from men. They pour out, we take in. They pour out, we take in. Yeah.
So when you don't have the relationship with God correctly, and we're craving this spiritual connection, and this man is doing that for us, we somewhat pervert the spirit, and now we've placed our affection on this man who's just doing his job at speaking the word of God. Now, of course, he needs to be wise enough to say, no, I don't want you. I have a wife. my child go sit down somewhere. You know, they're supposed to reject it.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that the next session on the husband perspective. But for the female, I just wanted to put that out there because they always talk about, because I used to do that in Bible class. I always talk about the big pink elephant in the room. Let's talk about the big pink elephant. Like, why you sisters are putting these men up, these men of God, or men at work. He's just my supervisor or vice president, and they'll take it that, well, she's distant. No, I know how to draw those boundaries, especially when I know that person is a hound dog. We know, so I always gotta, that's a whole nother series. Just know how to set yourself so you're within that boundary with that person that is your, because you are to submit to your boss in a sense, or boss or employer in that sense, but not to the sense that it's taken away from your home, your dignity, your relationship with Christ as a woman. Exactly. And I've watched women and on that side, it sets this tone at your job. And believe me, boo-boo, and I've seen it, that man's wife know you exist.
Honey.
Okay. And okay, because I worked in HR, so God, Lord have mercy. Back in the day, I saw it all. But wives popping up at the office, popping up.
Honey.
Like, oh Jesus, we gotta call the sheriff. We gotta call the sheriff.
Look,
I always gotta be the peacemaker, or in the community if they're coming up, in my office, I always ask, is your wife with you? I'm not meeting you unless your spouse is with you, because it's even the appearance of evil.
You don't want,
and that's what
appearance.
The appearance of evil.
Wives do be watching. I remember one of my coworkers, a male guy, I had no interest, like absolutely no interest. But apparently, come to find out, he had been going home and having a lot of conversations
about you,
about me. But I ain't even trying. Like, honey, look, I ain't even think about it. So I happened to see them at Walmart one day, and he goes to introduce me. So she said, "Oh, this is Miss Hollins." And he said, "Yes." And I'm sitting there like, "Hey," as I go to shake her hand, she said, you didn't tell me she was this pretty." And I'm like,
duh. Okay, close your ears, guys. That's when you be like, you stupid man.
Hey, first of all, what?
You stupid.
And I'm like, should I say thank you? Like,
no.
I feel like I'm in the middle of a bad conversation between mom and dad, and I shouldn't have heard what was said. Like,
I get that a lot. You just try to. That's why, so it's just the appearance, and you don't want to open any doors, and you don't want a gentleman who thinks that because y'all flow at work or somewhere else that it's that. Look, whether women want to admit it or not, I'm gonna say it. We have to have a standard. Have to have. I'm all great. I'm glad the Me Too things are coming out. Okay, let me say this. We've been knowing in the Black community, we've been knowing about all this stuff that's coming out since come on now, for years. But let's talk about the women's role and boundaries of ourselves.
I am never for victim shaming or blaming.
Nope.
But the first time he says something and or does something, that's when we draw the line.
Draw the line.
That's what, look, hey, and if I lose my job, so be it. But what you not gonna do, and depending on how I feel, you might get boogie down Arrettres. You might get saved and sanctified Arrettres. I don't know which one gonna come at you. Because I'm offended that you think what you trying is okay. You're insulting me. This is not a compliment. You're insulting me. So, it's important that we stand by our convictions regardless of the atmosphere. I've been in situations like that. Well, actually, I was younger when it really happened, but it's important that we also teach our daughters, because no one ever told me it's okay to stand up for yourself. It's okay to tell them no. It's not right, because we're so quick to well, don't dress this way and don't do this and don't do that. Who's telling the men to stop?
Yeah.
Who's telling the men when she says no, leave her alone? Don't bother her no more.
And move on.
Move on. But unfortunately, part of our society kind of like just pass the little man on his back. It's okay, honey. It's okay. And look at the woman like, well, what does she have on? Like, why were you in his office?
Yeah.
Why does he have your cell phone number?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to live my life, okay?
Yeah.
So it's important that we, in marriage, while dating, in the corporate world, we have a standard that it's just all the way around. Everybody understands this is who I am, and I have a boundary, and this is it.
Yeah, this is my brand.
And
now, and if you're willing, to accept that and respect it, then hallelujah, we can flow. But if you're not, then I'm okay. As one mentor said to me, all money ain't good money.
Look,
woo!
I've had
relationships, our business and relationships are not always good. And it's okay to say, that made me kind of uncomfortable. So let me bounce. Or let me make it sure before I bounce, this is why. You know what I mean? So it'd be a learning experience for him or her in that situation, so you can move on. You know what I mean? This has been awesome. This is Arrettres, you are bad. Would you please tell the audience how to reach you and about your counseling services?
Yes, I can be reached. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Connecting Love and Marriage, Connecting Love and Marriage. Or you can go to my website, Connecting Love and Marriage. I have a free ebook available that'll help wives overcome infidelity and work towards restoration. Basically, I've been in this for a long time.
You can tell you are old. This is your gift. I am so honored that you accepted my invite. Yes, audience, I stalked. When I saw her stuff, I was like, oh, she's got to be a guest. She has. If had COVID happened, I would have been in Texas where you're at. Like, okay, let's do this. And that is coming. I'm gonna get back on the road very soon. I'm excited. Yes. But I think this series is so important for women and for the men and for the married couples, because healing is possible.
It is.
It's possible. So stay tuned, audience, for our next session. This is about love and marriage from the male perspective, from the husband, and the husband perspective on infidelity. So we about to get real diggy in that. And then on the third session, we're going to talk about marriage as a whole and how marriage can repair and restore after fidelity. Okay, so that's that big pink elephant that Miss Agatha's bringing out there we're going to talk about. But we're talking to a phenomenal, beautiful woman of God, Arrettres Hollins. You are bad. And thank you, audience. Look for our next show and our next session. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Truthfully Speaking Grace Podcast. Stay tuned for another episode with more real conversations, celebrating real and inspiring people from all around the world.